You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
This is the Daniel Monday Night Community Show on demand through YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing to listen to us through this method. If you'd like to keep up to date with when I add new interviews, then subscribe to this channel.
You were saying there was a problem with the milk?
Oh, yes. Janice had to go and get some fresh from the store. However, I have to tell you, Mr. Jones, I didn't see much significance about that replacement of the milk at the time. To me, it really was just one of those things that happens. People drink a lot of coffee, sometimes 2 cups, one after the other, sometimes even different cups, some with sauces, some without. Makes you think, though, doesn't it? Now that I remember, yes, I think Janice might also have bought some cookies as well at the time. But I never truly read that much into it.
No, I'm sure you didn't.
Is there anything else, Mr. Jones?
So the bank was all fine as far as you were concerned?
Yes.
No problems?
Not that I saw.
But you know everything, Frank. You are the eyes and ears of the bank. They may not invite you into the departmental meetings, the staff still get to hear what's going on. I've never been anywhere that the employees don't really know what's going on, the ins and outs, long before someone in management tells them.
People always like to pretend they know. It's not the same thing as knowing. Not really.
So you didn't know anything?
About?
The robbery. Disagreements within the ranks. Or the management.
I'm based in the foyer, Mr. Jones. Now that you mention it, there is a way the company management communicate to us without speaking.
Go on.
Company newsletter comes out every quarter.
So you start early, right? You're the guy that knows everyone and they know you. You're their confidant, the wise older head. I could see you in that role. Got a problem? Ask Frank. Don't know what to do? Frank'll know. Need to borrow a few bucks. Frank's your guy. Ever done that?
Done what?
Lent someone money?
Don't they say neither a lender nor a borrower be?
So you haven't?
Can't recall. At this time.
At this time? You should have been a politician, Frank.
I've watched C-SPAN.
What do you think of Janice?
I know her from the bank, as I said before.
Yes, I know that, Frank. It's a small branch. You must know each other very well, especially a man whose job it is to notice everything that goes on.
Janice is Mr. O'Donnell's secretary. I think I told you that already.
Are they close?
Close?
Are they a couple, Frank?
Mr. O'Donnell, I believe, is married with 2 children.
Yeah, and a house in the suburbs over in Baker's Way.
I've never been.
Maybe one day they'll invite you.
I'm sure it's a very nice house.
I'm sure it is. I understand what it's like.
Oh?
The great and the good. And the rest.
Are you married, Mr. Jones?
Divorced, Frank.
Why?
I think it was called irreconcilable differences.
What does that mean?
I'm meant to be interviewing you.
I'm not going anywhere.
Too many hours, too many days away, different interests.
Too many evenings when you were home, but your mind was elsewhere.
If you like.
I'm not judging you.
You're not?
We all make mistakes.
Do we?
We just have to live with them. We frequently are required to place our jobs before those we care about.
Right.
After the silent evenings, the ignoring of each other, the pressure to pay the bills, the arguments, the fights, the job becomes a place of refuge. At work, you are a someone. You hold a position. People have to deal with you, talk to you, treat you with respect. At home, you're no one.
Was that your story?
It's everyone's story. We hide in our jobs, tell ourselves that what we do matters and that we believe it makes us something in the eyes of the town. It's only when we get home that the truth becomes unavoidable. Every day it eats away at you, little by little, until, by the time you retire, or they throw you out, you're but a shadow of the man you once were.
Would you say that Janice has a loose tongue? I mean, in a good way, of course.
I'm not sure I understand, Mr. Jones.
Janice is a bit of a gossip, isn't she?
Oh, I couldn't really say.
You don't speak to her?
I see her at work.
Yes, you've said before. Do you like her?
She's a very nice person.
Do you have a thing for her?
A thing?
Would you lie for her?
She's never asked me to do that.
But if she knew something?
Something?
Something about the robbery. If, and I'm just saying, if Janice knew something, knew anything, what if? Just let me present the case. What if Janice had known something, learned something, say, something that may before the robbery have meant nothing, but afterwards could be seen in a far clearer light? You see where I'm coming from? Janice strikes me as the kind of lady that, like you, knows everyone. She's friendly. People like her. A smiling face who's always there with a song in her heart. Would you agree with that description?
Very astute.
Thank you. I'm a pretty good judge of character. You have to be in my position to be able to assess a suspect. Not saying you're a suspect, at least not yet. However, one does have to be on one's guard. Like yourself, I'm guessing. Being able to separate the good from the bad. Maybe even separating the good from that which may be sent to mislead us. So I ask you again, Frank. Did Janice say anything to you?
Frank? Frank, I'm glad I've caught you.
Is everything all right?
Everything's fine.
Oh, that's good. Weren't you getting the milk from the store?
I did, and then I returned to the bank.
That's good.
I have something that I must tell you.
Janice, I'm on lunch.
I took some more coffee into the office. I also took some cookies, maybe as a peace offering.
You think cookies would make much of a difference?
Clive Dickinson was still there, but neither him nor Mr. O'Donnell were getting on. In fact, Frank, they were so engrossed with their meeting that they didn't even seem to be aware that I'd entered the room.
I'm sorry, but after going over the figures backwards and forwards, no one in Edwardsville can see an alternative.
Clive, there has been a branch of Tunbridge Carter in this town for 50 years.
That was then, Peter. This is now. I'm afraid the world has changed. It's different today. I'm sorry. The subprime market is now sweeping right across the country like wildfire.
I read the papers, Clive. I have cable at home.
Then you'll know that if the company doesn't cut its losses now, they'll have to be even more savage later.
But the staff, people will have to have their homes repossessed.
This is about survival, and not everyone is going to survive. Freddie and Fannie may get bailed out, but that isn't going to happen to Tunbridge Carter. We sink beneath the waves. There are no life jackets for us.
I have known these people for years. They trust this company. They trust me.
Listen, Peter. Get this into that skull of yours. This branch is in debt to the tune of $20 million. Now, you want to keep this branch open? You want to keep any of your staff? You want to continue to play the role of the main man on Main Street? Then it's real simple. Find $20 million before the end of the month. Or you can take that as being your final paycheck.
And they didn't notice you there all that?
They did then. Clive, Mr. Dickinson, saw me, downed his cup of coffee and left. That was the end of the meeting.
Then we'd all better start looking for other jobs. Is that what you're saying?
The bank is leveraged almost to the tune of 95 to 1. There's no way Peter can possibly find $20 million by the end of the month. I don't know what he's going to do.
What are you going to do?
Firstly, we mustn't start any rumors among the staff. Once you have fear and worry in the ranks, it'll be everyone for themselves. You've got to tell me, promise me, that you won't tell a soul about this.
You don't want to warn people?
Frank, listen to me. The last thing Peter needs right now is for the employees of Tunbridge Carter to abandon the sinking ship. Failure sends out all the wrong signals. If people think it's all over, there'll be a stampede for the door. We have to know, but say nothing.
Janice, what do you think is going to happen to the bank?
Get down! Get down on the floor and do it now!
Who works here? Who's a member of the staff?
Me. I am.
Deal with the cameras. Spray the lenses. You, get up. Come with me. Open the safe.
But I...
Do it, or I'll blow your head off.
Do it, Janice! Give him what he wants!
Open the safe! Do it now!
Stay here. Don't hit the alarm.
Did anyone tell you what happened?
I've only picked up bits and pieces.
Such as?
Well, people were frightened, gunshots, the camera covered with spray paint. They wore masks, gloves, the usual.
Anything else?
Everyone still seemed a bit dazed this morning. It's going to take some time to get a clearer picture, I'm guessing.
Oh?
When people are pushed to perform in desperate measures, they're usually under great stress. It makes people's power of recall a bit foggy.
Is that so?
Come on!
Stay down. Anyone tries to follow us and we'll kill them.
You see, Frank, here's my problem. 1. You just happen to be away on the day the bank is robbed, which, as we've established, is pretty rare. 2. You obviously spoke to Janice, and she's a fountain of knowledge. Did you know that? No. Well, she is. You know what she said? You knew that the bank was in trouble, and you knew that people were going to get laid off. You knew the layout of the bank, the positioning of the cameras, the counters, even the location of the vault itself. You knew the times of cash deposits and withdrawals, and you also knew the strength or weakness that day of the security detail, and that on the day of the robbery, the detail would be down. And when it's an inside job, the insider rarely turns up for work, for fear of being recognized. Now, I'm guessing you're starting to understand why I asked to talk to you. The only member of the bank's employment that wasn't there on the critical day of that bank's history. Quite a series of coincidences, wouldn't you say, Frank? I'm told there was $20 million in the vault. Even if you split the money with those that did the job, you'd still be sitting pretty. Maybe you could even finally get to retire. Hell, I'd consider it. In your shoes, I'd consider it a lot.
They cleaned us out. That's what I'm saying.
Just as long as that's all we're saying.
And that's what I'm writing down. Yes, Frank. Can we help you? We're a bit busy right now.
I wondered why you asked me for money.
I'm sorry, Frank. I don't even...
You're the manager, Mr. O'Donnell. You earn a lot more than me. I thought it odd at the time.
Well, I found myself in a bit of a pickle that weekend.
You see, $100. That wasn't really enough for a night out, especially with a lady on the side, unless she was going real cheap-like.
Frank.
So I thought it was unusual, the sort of thing that was out of the ordinary. I do that. Look for things that other people might miss. Long coats in summer, shapeless garments that could hide weapons. People that ask questions but never open an account. Bank managers that borrow from the lowest rung of the ladder. You see my point?